Good morning, my friends. It is something like a little bit past 7 o'clock in the morning, and sun. It is already risen. I was about to say that sun should be rising about this time, and I'm leaving the place. It wasn't the best nights in my life, but it's okay. It wasn't that bad. Is this open? Yes. And somewhere here, my Rome to Rio app seems to be kind of useful in Abu Dhabi. In Egypt it was useless. So we'll see. It says that somewhere here, I think down there probably, should be a bus station. I understood. I needed to go inside and then down. Okay, yeah. I'll try to catch a A1 city bus to center of Abu Dhabi and explore a little bit this city, and at 3 p.m. I can check into my hotel. So it was a little bit of confusion, but nothing out of normal kind of confusion. I found a bus stop. I asked the driver. He said I need to buy a special city bus card, Khalifat card, and for that I needed cash, and he said that machine doesn't give change, so I had to go back inside to get the change. Then I come back here. I tried to buy that card, but I couldn't figure out how it works. Then one lady says it's not possible to buy, only top up that card here. And then while I was looking around, one taxi man actually did help me. Wow. These taxi men are different taxi men than in Egypt. They don't try to sell you forcibly things. He offered me taxi. I said I don't have enough money for that, and he said that's no problem, I can help you, and he really helped me and bought the ticket and explained how it worked. So yeah, all good. It is, what is it, 10 dirhams for a card, which would be something like 2.5 euros, which you lose because you have to buy a card, and then you have to top up for another 10, but each trip is only 2 dirhams, so it is something like 50 cents, so very good price. I was thinking it will be worse in this kind of rich country. So let's see when the bus comes, and I found out that number 1 and number 2 is both good for me. And that's number 10, which is not good. Let's wait for the next one. Shukran. And this, I think, is, oh no, it is Musafir Bridge, not Makta. I thought it's Makta Bridge. Yeah, Abu Dhabi is located on islands. Well, that's something impressive. Yeah, my first impressions about this country are that this place is very developed, very livable. Well, not cheap, not livable in that terms, but livable terms of comfort, opportunities, and everything you might want. Everything is here. Also, everything is in two languages, Arabic and English, and to be honest, I hear English even more than Arabic. And also, they're not shy of spending money for making the place look beautiful. You see all the landscaping. Everything is irrigated with drip lines, with drip irrigation, manicured, made beautifully. They often use beautiful designs, quality materials, so they do like to make their place look nice. And yeah, it is nice. Very civilized, very developed. People are very fed people, not hungry people, psychologically I mean. And there in the distance we already start seeing the skyscrapers of the central Abu Dhabi. So that was my bus, and that is the place where I got out of it, in the very center, well, kind of very center of Abu Dhabi. Yeah, that's a skyscraper city. You see, this looks like a Europe. Could be anywhere in Europe. But you see the drip lines crisscrossing everywhere under that grass. Without those lines there would be desert. Nothing green. I just got something to eat. Some mandarins and some persimmons. But yeah, friends, it's not the same as it was in Egypt. In this place I will not be buying fruit for 20 or 30 cents per kilogram. These prices are almost European prices, and you see everything is clean, no dust and dirt. You have each persimmon has this label on, like in Europe, and it is unripe and almost as tasteless as if you would bought it in Europe. Not the same anymore. You can't have all the goods in one place. If you have this civilization and rich, abundant economy and all the goods of civilization, you don't get many other things which you can enjoy in cheaper places. Here will be something interesting. You see that? I have never seen Persian Gulf. No, that's the first moment. What do you think, friends? Isn't this beautiful? Yeah. Al-Bahr, the sea. And they have some harbor there, some port. but you can't get to the water. I wonder, do they have tides here? They might, but they might not. I'm not sure what's the story here. Quite beautiful. I'm not as impressed as by Nile, but I like it. But yeah, there is some other, is it island or what is it? Just a breakwater? No, I think some island, something. So we don't see the open sea completely. But yeah, this is sea. This is not a river. Well, there are no rivers here. No rain. Sorry, friends. No Nile, which carry waters from equator in Uganda. Yeah, and everything is manicured and kept almost perfect. Even to European standards, I would say almost perfect. Nice. Is this the sedum? This one, I mean. It looks like sedum almost. That cactus type plant, which, for example, in Ireland they grow them on roofs, or when you want to make a green roof, because when it is dry for too long you can kill grass. Usually it comes back, but if it's too long you can kill. But it's very difficult to kill these guys. Like, if the irrigation system goes bad or whatever, these guys are very forgiving. They don't die. They can live very long without any water, like camels. So it's a good choice probably here, unlike these things. You know, I have walked for less than a couple hours and I'm already tired because of this night where I didn't get real rest. I slept maybe 1.5, 2 hours maybe in total, difficult to say even. And I was looking on this park, I saw it on the map, but it looks too manicured, too, how do you say it, too posh, too sterile. I wonder if I would hang a hammock there, what would be the reaction? Could I get some huge fine by local policemen for damaging the tree bark or whatever? I don't know what's their attitude. They can make huge fines. I saw in the bus there was every second seat was prohibited to be used, and if you sit there the fine is 3,000 Emirati dirhams, and 3,000 would be how much? Something like 600 euros for sitting in that bench. Yeah, I have impression that they don't like jokes about these things. What about this place? What do you think? Would that be a viable option for my hammock? If I could get maybe a couple more hours of sleep, I would probably be a very happy man. Let's try. Now then, let's go for it, my friends. We'll see what happens. If anybody gets interested in my actions, or I go unnoticed, or is it kind of considered okay what I'm doing? We'll find out. At least I think I shouldn't be fined for making any damage here, that's for sure. And I do enjoy the view with all the... It's interesting, are they dhows or I think Arabic boats were old sailboats were called dhows. I forgot already, or dows. How do you call it? They're quite similar to Chinese junks, hull-wise, but not the rigging-wise. But there are no rigging, of course. That's long gone. Okay, friends, less talking, more sleeping. I don't know about others, but I feel very good here. Excuse me for a couple hours. I'll join you later, my friends. Wow, friends, it was so good. 1.5 hours, but it means so much after such a night. And the place is so beautiful as well. Nice. I think I'll get up and go somewhere. It's really hot. The sun is shining and it's really getting hot here. I like how they build these spaces for having some space where you can hang out and which is covered from the sun, and at the same time which is ventilating very well so that it doesn't overheat, all the heat gets out, and south is there so the sun is going and being reflected by these white things. So yeah, it's probably the only way how you can be outdoors in summer here, if at all. If it's 40 degrees or more, imagine that. But it's nice. Yeah, I'm walking already a few kilometers along the street, and these skyscrapers, they never end. And that doesn't seem to be ending anywhere soon. Amazing how big and high this city is. I am now walking through the lake park, which is kind of a central-ish park. I don't know, would I be wrong saying it's the central park of Abu Dhabi? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it looks like the lake is a little bit lacking of water. It's quite long, it's not just this pit. Although it is funny for me, a wet country person, that they call this thing a lake. Like, in best case I would call it a pond maybe. It's artificially made. That's the deepest part, and it's quite long on that direction, and there is some water down there as well, little bit. But not much. But yeah, friends, when you're in a country where it doesn't rain, you call this thing a lake, and you call the park a lake park because of that. Because this must be a huge thing, even though there's pretty much no water in it. And it is mid-January now, so not exactly height of summer or end of summer, although, yeah, not the end of winter either. Yeah, things are different here. Like today is 28 degrees, I think, if I remember correctly what I saw on my app. Here they try to sell some things sometimes as well, but very rare. It's not like in Egypt where you get it on every corner when people try to sell things to you. Here people are kind of well-fed people. They're not hungry of money. They are good enough. They are not desperate to sell you something. So yeah, it is, if I remember correctly, what I saw on my app in the morning. It's 28 degrees now, and it is exactly middle of January. Salam, salam. People are friendly here as well, although not as in Egypt, of course, because they're more well off, more guarded in their mental cages, or how do you call it? That's what happens when the country gets prosperous. You're not so outgoing anymore. So, what I was saying, you'll probably laugh about me, those who are living in more hotter climates. But for me, a northerner, who have lived all my life in the north, for me mid-January means terrible misery because of cold. It means digging out your car out of a heap of snow each morning and scraping your car windows while heating up the engine and heating up the saloon of the car from inside. All those kind of things to me means mid-January. Not 28 degrees. Sunshine with almost no clouds, little bit there, but very light ones. And the good weather, and sweating while having only one layer of clothes on you, and very thin at that. And it is something very unusual for me. This will be first winter in my life which I will not get, as I would say it. I will escape the winter, because I'll be probably going back to Europe only sometime in spring, March, April, maybe even May, I don't know yet. And by that time it will be kind of warmish there again. I couldn't say warm after all this. Irish summer is a lot colder than Arabian January and wetter as well. Quite beautiful. And it's an interesting experience for me. It's the first winter which didn't come in my life. Like always, winter comes at the end of autumn and it gets miserable. And that's what it is. That's what life is. That's how I saw it. And this will be my first winter which never came. Because I went away from winter. And this far, I must tell you friends, it feels not just good, it feels amazing. Amazing. If you haven't experienced that, and if you are from northern climates as myself, I definitely recommend you. If I can suggest you anything, do try it. It's something amazing. To skip one winter, at least one, if not more. I probably might like this so much that I might decide to do it more often. Who knows, maybe every winter to go somewhere where it's good. We'll see. It's too early to judge about these things and to make concrete plans. But yeah, what do you think about this kind of city, my friends? It's very different from the places where I usually have been. What do you think about these ornamental things which they have built into their city? I think it's quite nice, isn't it? That they have been doing their best in decorating their city. Like even the boring skyscrapers, they all have, well, almost all, have something interesting in them. But also like traditional motives and their stuff. It's not old, it's not historical, of course, but it's cute. It's interesting that they have put thought and labor into their city, so it looks beautiful. And there's nothing historical here as far as I know, because I was even seeing pictures in airport yesterday. Well, was it yesterday, middle of night, after midnight when I arrived? I was seeing some pictures about history of this place, and really a few decades ago they had nothing here, nothing, just a desert. And they have built all this. It's quite impressive. It earns a big respect. And don't just say it's oil. They have oil, and that's why they were lucky, and that's so easy. I wouldn't agree to that. Many places have oil, but not many peoples have built cities like these. I don't think it's that easy. And even more, Dubai is even more crazier than this place, than Abu Dhabi. And their oil finished many years ago. But when you look at Dubai, it doesn't look like their money has finished also. So it's not just oil. Don't write it off on oil. It's not just when you have an oil tap which you can open and money flows. It's much more than that. I think it takes a lot of willpower and attitude and belief that you can do it, and then doing it, to build these cities in the middle of nowhere out of nothing. Yeah, what do you think, friends? How is it to live in such places? I'm thinking myself, like, I'm curious. There is some appeal to that. Like renting a small flat in some skyscraper, like there, with a view on the sea and other skyscrapers, and maybe even a balcony. It would be a cool thing. There is some appeal into that. But for me personally, I think I wouldn't probably enjoy it more than 2 or 3 months per year, because I like nature, and I would like nature too much here. And I wouldn't keep a camel in one of those buildings either. I wouldn't also grow fruit trees in there, as you can imagine. Which for me would be quite important. If I stay in one place longer, I would want to grow some fruit trees myself, which I enjoy doing. So yeah, but I can understand that there is some appeal in these places as well. What do you think, my friends? Have any of you have any experience of living in such skyscraper cities? You New Yorkers who are watching me, would you like to share? How does it feel to live in Manhattan? Well, this is not exactly Manhattan, of course. Although I should say that this place is much closer to Manhattan than it is to Sahaj, where I was yesterday. Or some small village in Nile Valley, which is a completely different world than this one. And they're both part of the Arab world. Interesting. I find it very fascinating to see different places and see how different they are. While when we look from Europe, we think, that's Arabs, they're all the same. No, guys, they're not. They're very different. Even their language differs from country to country. But that's the smallest thing, I would say. Yeah, interesting. I definitely enjoyed this experience. How amazing it is to be in the middle of January. And here is 28 degrees today now. That's something amazing. Like in my head, mid-January means that misery. I have never seen anything else in my life. Although I have been traveling a lot, even earlier as well. But I haven't had any time skipped any winter. And this is my first winter in my life which I'm skipping deliberately. That's crazy. It feels so unreal and so good at the same time. I don't know how to explain it even. Yeah, you wouldn't keep any camels there. What do you think? Good morning, friends, from my hotel room in Abu Dhabi. I just wanted to show you how this looks. This was the bed where I spent this night. And this is the room which I have. Look at this. I'm not used to these things even. But I kind of understand why I pay this 42 euros for one night. You see all the furniture and chair and the table there, and even a separate table with a chair there, and the telephone, and all this kind of royal bed with even artwork, and you see, and the big flat screen TV and the full kitchen there. And here even you have like, look how many hangers. It's not very often when you get this. And even the iron and for drying my clothes, which I actually didn't discover it's there. I washed all my clothes, so now I'm very clean after all my Egyptian dust. I'm not dirty anymore. And by the way, here it's very clean. Like here, if you leave a tablet on your table for a half day, it's not covered with dust when you pick it up again. Everything is clean here. And this is my view from the window. What do you think about that? That's where I live. Lived. I'm checking out now. And I don't remember when was the last time when I had this much privacy. Like I have a separate room, not just room, like a proper studio flat, which is lockable. And I have even a safe here if I want to lock my old iPad or whatever. And even I have a lockable fridge. It's the first time in my life I see a fridge which you can properly lock and you can't open it. Did I lock it? Yeah, you can't open it. Oh, that's funny. And all these things. And I have also a separate, again, artwork and a separate, my own bathroom with a bath, like with all the stuff which I could ever think about. This is crazy. So yeah, friends, there is something to look forward to when I get again on my feet financially and I'm not struggling with looming bankruptcy. I could have been living like this all the time. That's crazy. But this was the cheapest option I had here. I didn't have any other, like there are no other hostels. Maybe they're just closed now during the COVID, or I don't know, but this was the cheapest, 42 euros per night. It was absolutely the cheapest option which I had. So, I'm checking out. Let's take out this card. Electricity gone, everything is dark. And let's go out. Everything is dark in here as well. So where was the lift? Here. So yeah, this was the cheapest option I found. I couldn't get any better, cheaper option. But yeah, it was pleasant. It was pleasant to stay like that instead of hostels. That's crazy. And here we go, ground floor. Yeah, so it was 42 euros for one night. I spent second of my 2 nights in Abu Dhabi. I spent it in airport, so it's already half that. So it is 21 instead of 42. Good morning. I would like to check out. So it is these things, yeah? Anything else, or that's it?
Everything is okay.
Yes, very good, thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you, have a good day. That was it, my friends. These guys had one half hobo for one night. And now they're free from this half hobo which was there. When I arrived with my dirty Galabea, which is now clean, I washed it, but it was crazy dirty with Egyptian dust. Like there's not much dust here, but in Egypt it was very dusty. That's my hotel. Yep. So I was what I was starting to tell you. So it was 42 euros for one night in this place. So I spent my other of 2 nights in airport, which means 0, and that makes the total of 2 nights 42, which means 21 euro per night, but which is still more than twice of my budget, which is 10 euro per night. I mean, accommodation is 10 euro per night for me. So that's the reason why I told you in Egypt when I was, I think, was it in the hot air balloon video where I told you that I have saved a lot of money in Egypt because everything is so cheap, and I will need it badly because I will be in Emirates, which will not be as cheap. And yeah, it's true, it's not as cheap. In Dubai I hope that it will be better. Well, at least what I can see in Booking.com. I have some nasty hostels there for 11 or 12 euros per night with very bad reviews. So, because for Dubai it's obviously extremely cheap, 12 euros per night, which is still more than my average. But for them it's extremely cheap, and those hostels were very nasty if you look at the reviews. So when I'll be there, hopefully, after Oman, then I'll be kind of a little bit better financial situation than here, but still more expensive. And the food isn't cheap here either. Like in Egypt I was spending on average 2 or 3 euros per day if I ate everything I wanted. And if I wanted to be frugal, I could easily live under 1 euro per day for food in Egypt. Here I was quite frugal, but I still spent almost 10 euros yesterday for food, just to have anything edible. So it's by no means cheap here. But to be honest, to put it into perspective, I was looking in one website which compares prices, all kinds of prices, and I compared Abu Dhabi and Dubai with Dublin in Ireland, and it is still cheaper here. Yes, renting is cheaper, buying apartment is cheaper, consumer prices are cheaper, all kinds of food is cheaper, restaurants are cheaper, little bit, but cheaper. I was a bit surprised because I thought this place must be crazy expensive, but obviously the place where I come from is even crazier. Dublin in Ireland. Well, that gives some perspective. Okay, friends, I was spending till the last minute my checkout, delaying, I should say, to the last minute my checkout. It's 12:30 noon already. There was a reason for that, because I'll have a whole day without any accommodation today, and my flight is quite late in the evening, so long after sunset. So it means that I'll have enough time outside to walk around. That's no issue, but I had less time with electricity and internet, which I needed for my work. So I did everything I could in this morning, and now all my batteries are charged. I have again no internet. My water bottle is refilled, and I'm ready to walk around for whatever daylight hours we still have. Quite a few. The sun sets maybe at 6 p.m. or so. You can see the color of the soil here. Like it's a proper seaside beach sand. That's the soil which they have under this city. Yeah, you wouldn't tell. Like when you walk in the city, you see all these skyscrapers, the pavement and tarmac or asphalt, whatever you call it, and all the green trees, all the palm trees. Like every space which they have, they do something green in there, and after a while all these newly planted things will be big and fill the space, and there as well, so all of that will be green. So yeah, you wouldn't tell you're in a desert just walking in the city. Also these American style signs, street signs, like everything is very civilized. You can read the street signs and you can easily find things, and everything is in 2 languages. Like I have found nothing, literally nothing, which I couldn't read if I know English. Like even I don't know, for the stores even, you see, it's in Arabic and it's in English. Everything is doubled in English. There is nothing which is only in Arabic. So it is very livable for a Western person. Everything is very civilized, everything is on very high level, high standard. I heard that even medicine, I mean the, what do you call it, the hospitals and all that system, medical system, is very developed here. Like people from Egypt, when they have serious things and if they have enough money, I heard that they fly to Emirates for a hospital, for some surgeries or whatever. So everything is here basically. All kinds of amenities and comforts Western people are used to, at least from what I hear and what I see. So it is very, very livable place for a Westerner. If you want to live in such climate in an Arab country, in tax-free country, well, basically tax-free, depending what's your situation. So United Arab Emirates are a really good option. And you can get this golden visa or residency permit quite easily, as far as I understand. And it should be very simple thing, I believe, to become a permanent resident here. Not citizen, that's pretty much impossible as far as I understand. But permanent resident. You can't vote, but you can do anything else, and that's fine. Well, you don't have their passport, which is one of the best passports ever. A lot better than European passports. Almost as good as Singapore passport, or even better? I don't know. But very good passport in terms of visa-free travel. But yeah, these things are getting better anyway. Even my Latvian passport, when I was traveling before I lived in Ireland, so it was now already, 12 years ago, I remember my Latvian passport wasn't even that good, even though it was European Union passport already by then. But there were many countries where I couldn't go visa-free. But now, like when you look, even with my Latvian passport, I can go most of the world visa-free. Like I can't go Russia, China, India, but all the Latin and Central America, with almost no exceptions, even USA and Canada, and of course all Europe, a big chunk of Asia, something in Africa as well, is all accessible without visa, even for me. So I shouldn't be complaining for not having Emirati passport. Okay, that was a ramble and thoughts about passports. Not an important thing. I'm more showing you the landscapes of this place rather than giving very important information. Yeah, friends, we'll walk about, we'll enjoy the place, and this place is called Capital Park, so it's probably the most central of the parks which Abu Dhabi has. And yes, Abu Dhabi is capital of United Arab Emirates, not Dubai as sometimes people say. Abu Dhabi is the capital. No pets allowed. Okay, I'm not a pet, so I should be alright. And this is the Capital Park. This is how it looks. Well, I should say quite Abu Dhabish. Skyscrapers all around, everything clean, in order, manicured, kind of manicured. The lawn is patchy, of course, but well, come on, you're in desert, what do you expect? That's the big thing, that there is anything green at all here. That was hard work on their side to get anything greenish looking here. So I shouldn't be, with my Irish perspective, saying that the lawn is patchy. If that would be in Ireland, that would be a bad job. But here it's a wonder. Here I should say, how on earth is it possible at all? But yeah, quite a nice space. So I like that they have built these things into their city. Like commercially, financially, from the business point of view, it's not a thing to do. You use every square meter and you build these big skyscrapers so you can rent out the spaces and get your money back. But they have sacrificed to make the place livable, likable, pleasant to be in. And look at this, there's even water in a pond. Wow, I just noticed. Sorry, I was talking with you and I just noticed only now. There's water. Well, the fountains aren't working, but come on, there's water. Can you believe it, friends? And I wonder, what is that? You see that? That's like a swan house. But I can't imagine any swans living here. What would they do here in desert? That's an interesting thing. Like you could have such a site in Europe somewhere, where it rains. Not here. And here you see, this is not grass. It's a nice feel. It feels like a grass because it's green. But I don't know the name of it, but it's some cactus type plant which it can survive without water for long times. Cool. Yeah. Also, there are some stray cats here as well. I think it's the first one I see in Emirates. No, there's a second one. Okay, guys. You're here as well. I didn't expect it. Oh, and there's a third one. And the fourth one, you see? Can you see it? Should I zoom? So I don't see myself in the sunshine. I hope you see. I don't. I see it in life, but I can't see it in the screen. But yeah, 4 cats in one spot. Okay. I didn't expect there would be any stray animals in this city, but yeah, you get some. And what's that? It looks like it's okay to walk on the grass. I was kind of questioning it. Is it possible? Is it okay? Like, grass is a very precious thing here. Maybe it's not allowed. Maybe in their culture you can't do it. But it looks like people are doing it, so I should be alright as well. Yeah, they have all kinds of things. And you see how they even keep the place with these edges. So gardeners are working here as well. Even you see this palm tree, and it is edged around as well. So gardeners are working here to keep it all nice and good looking, posh looking even, I would say, orderly. One other thing which I was thinking, I have been walking around, this maybe is not as a greatest example, but I don't have any better. I was wondering about the weed situation here. It must be a very good situation for the gardeners to grow things if you have water, of course, because I guess that they shouldn't have a lot of weed competition. Because where would they get the weeds from? This soil has been complete desert for centuries and millenniums. So there is no seed bank in the soil. You can dig the soil up, water it, and whatever you plant will grow, and grow very nicely, because the amount of nutrients in desert is amazing, because nothing really rots, nothing gets wasted, kind of. Everything is there, because it's just conserved by the dry climate. So once you get the water in it, it's immediately a fantastic growing situation. But you don't get any weed seeds when you dig it up, as in. And there's, oh, whoa, one more cat, two more cats, three more cats. Okay, this is the place if you look for stray cats. So yeah, if you dig up, well, obviously they got topsoil imported from somewhere, because the desert is not that brownish, humus-filled topsoil. Obviously, it's imported from somewhere. But in any case, and there's more cat. Okay, this is the place. So yeah, I was just thinking, when you dig it up, there are no weed seeds, although when you import the topsoil, depending from where you import it, I guess you import the weed seeds as well. Well, I don't know what's the story, but I was, and here you see, can you see it? I hope you can. That's a sprinkler. Okay, that's how they keep this place moist. Probably during night it's being watered, because it's half moist here. So obviously during the night it was sprinkled all over the place to keep it moist and livable for the grass. Yeah, you see? There's another sprinkler. Nicely done. Nicely done. I like it. And you see, every little distance there is another sprinkler head, and there's another one. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I was just curious, what's the story? And they have a public toilet here as well. Okay, first let me see this thing in here. So I was just wondering about what's the situation, because it should be very easy if you don't have all these weed seeds collected during the centuries in the soil, and also there are no weeds growing around, because anything that's growing in this area at all is only where you water it. So you don't get weed seeds, like you don't get thistles growing around this place in the wild, where the seeds are blown with the wind into your garden, so you get more weeds. Here there's nothing to blow. Only sand and dust can be blown from the surrounding areas into your garden, not weed seeds. So that way I was just wondering, it should be very easy to grow. And I was started to think about these things only when I was yesterday walking along the seaside, and I saw these big plantations of flowers, of petunias and other flowers, and I noticed they don't have weeds growing between them, and it looked like they're just not growing there, instead of being meticulously weeded. And then I started to think about these things, and yeah, interesting. What's the story, is it? Anybody of your friends are gardeners who have been working in conditions like this in desert? Do you have some experience how it works with the weeds? Might be interesting. Well, maybe not for everybody. Probably most people are listening to me now and thinking, what is this guy talking about? Who is interested in weeds and growing stuff? Well, not everybody, I understand. For you guys, just look at these skyscrapers. Don't think about weeds, okay? Deal? Look, friends, even a shopping center, even such things as the boring, characterless shopping centers, they build in such a way which is not boring. Amazing. Well, it kind of reminds me of that saying that in this day and age, shopping centers are today's temples for today's people. That's their places of worship. Shopping is their act of worship. Well, I'm not saying it about these guys. I actually enjoy that they build a shopping center into something likable, interesting, beautiful. There is some design in it instead of just being a box, styrofoam isolated, aluminum clad or whatever else clad, with no design at all. Yeah, I like it, I like it. And there's a small mosque as well. It's funny as well that in many Arab countries, mosques are the big things. Like there are small houses for people, and then there are these big huge mosques, tall high mosques in between them. Like there are tall big churches in between Western countries' houses. But here, like your average house is a big skyscraper. Your small houses are even how high, like 7 or 10 stories. And this is also just average. It's not big. Like I'm in an area where there are no big skyscrapers here. Like that one is big, but it's very far. And the mosque is very small thing under all those, in the shade of all those huge things. The same way as in New York, the churches are small things in between the tall, big, huge skyscrapers. Opposite of the usual picture. Believe it or not, I actually went into that shopping center, but for a very pragmatic reason. Usually, these centers have free toilets. Like in the park, I have to pay, not a hugely expensive sum, but still I have to pay money. Or I have to judiciously use bushes. But in these kind of places, look at this, isn't it amazing? In these kind of places, usually the toilets are free, and I have been thinking about this idea for a good while already while walking around. So let's see if we have any luck here. And let's see where. Yeah, it's quite beautiful, this temple. You see, they have all the COVID joys. Maximum occupancy 11 persons in this specific shop, and in the parks, even on regular wooden benches, you would have written keep a distance of 2 meters. And everybody, without exceptions, they use masks everywhere. That's a female toilet. Where is the male? On the other side. Okay, I'll get there. So they use masks everywhere. To enter a shopping center or even McDonald's or any kind of place, you need not just vaccination as it was in Cyprus. You need that's another dome. That's a different one. And you see, you have the same dome kind of thing. The previous which I showed was on that direction, a good distance away. And there is another entrance. Yeah, and they regulate which direction you enter and exit. You have different entrances for getting in or getting out of the place. And yeah, they not just ask you for vaccination to get inside of these things. You have to show the special app, Al Hosn was it called, I forgot already. Special app in the phone. And it updates information in real time. And it shows like you have to have vaccination. No way around it. You have to have vaccination. And you have to also have PCR test, I think, every 3 days. And if you don't have it, this app on real time, it will show that it's red or it's grey or whatever, but it will not be green. And unless it's green, you're not allowed in these shopping centers. And that app shows also your name and your picture, so they can see it's you, not somebody else. So all the technologies are used. And in airports they even have some special apps in iPhones, and the men are sitting with this iPhone in the tripod every little distance, checking and screening people's faces, and this app supposedly can tell if you are suspicious in terms of COVID. But I understand that many other countries are saying that this is the government which says it, but in reality it might not be exactly working like that. So it is kind of funny. And I noticed that there is somebody standing and checking for those who are coming in the toilet. I wonder, are they counting how many people are in and how many more are allowed? Not to exceed the limitations and distancing things or whatever. So yeah, my idea was that this kind of shows that more or less all these government enforced, coerced COVID restrictions, there are more or less arbitrary things which are put in place according to, there's a prayer room even, but that's for ladies only, so should be somewhere else. That's a gents prayer room there. Oh, that's funny. Shall we go to a shopping center's prayer room? That's the first time I see such thing. And basically all these COVID restrictions are arbitrary nonsenses enforced by governments according to what government think that will be acceptable within the certain society. Like if it's not acceptable, you're not getting anywhere with enforcing. You can't enforce it basically. You can put it in the place, write it in the law, but you can't enforce it. So basically what my point was, that all these things show governments feel of the respective nations' tolerance to all kinds of nonsenses. And here the tolerance is very high. And as a result, the government was able to enforce things which, like, for example, in Egypt, would never go through. It would never work. You could never get away with such enforcements. They don't use masks anywhere, even in crowded buses or wherever, let alone any kind of testing and vaccination and God knows what else. So yeah, it kind of shows this thing, and to me it's a useful measure, useful way how to measure freedom levels in those places, because the less tolerant to the restrictions is the society, the less governments are allowing themselves to encroach into people's freedoms, and the more freedom you have. And the society's acceptance and tolerance towards restrictions, I don't think it changes that quickly. Like, you can, of course, all these COVID propagandas show that you can make a successful propaganda and change society's perception of things. But in general, I think it's not as quickly changeable. Government can be changed quicker than society's acceptance towards restrictions. And the reason for why I think it's useful information is that if you know that some place, I don't know, Australia or Emirates or many European places or even America, for example, those societies are very tolerant towards encroachment in their freedoms and oppression, governmental oppression and restrictions and all that kind of things. Let's say in Australia, for example, maybe you have heard what kind of lockdowns they had or still have maybe there. And like, which other place, in which other country a government, no matter what kind of government, would get away with such level of stupidity? Like, even Taliban wouldn't get such things through in Afghanistan, which Australian government was easily allowed to get away with, to make a whole country into a prison, because society is tolerant to that kind of thing. But there are other places where both economical, cultural, psychological, all kind of other things dictate that the society is very intolerant towards those restrictions, and there the governments were unsuccessful in enforcing 2% of that nonsense which Australia went through, or still is going through. So yeah, these things kind of show you. Shukran. I'm kind of still talking in Arabic, although here everybody talks in English more than in Arabic even, and he was not Arab. So sorry about that. So yeah, this just serves me as a litmus paper indicator which societies should be avoided in future. Like, I'm not against visiting Australia. I would love to do it, and I have no doubt about that Australians are very nice people, and I have met quite a few of them, and they were all very good persons. So it's not about that, but it's about risk level of living there. I wouldn't want to live there because risk level is too high, unacceptable for me. That any other kind of difficult situation, new virus, political tension, whatever, any other thing which could happen down the line in the next years, it can easily result in draconian and stupid restrictions. Because I know, and these governments know, that society is tolerant to them, and society will not push back. It will swallow whatever you give to them, and they will eat it and will not say anything. So governments know it, and government is always something which has to be kept in check, and when it gets too free, the people suffer. And yeah, Australian government, they know now that they can get away with almost anything, and people will just accept it and tolerate it. So they can afford to do such things which no other government would dream about doing even. Well, I shouldn't say no other. There are others who does similar things as well. But you got the point, yeah? So, yeah, it means stay away from those places. They're dangerous to live in. And on the other hand, this litmus paper test shows me also other countries which are very good. Like Egypt, like Turkey, even such places like, for example, Albania. They are different in terms that governments get away with very little nonsense and stupidity. They can't enforce even mask mandates, let alone anything else. Because societies are not tolerant to those kind of nonsenses. Economy is in such a level that you can't get people into stupid, nonsensical things. It doesn't work. Even if you write it in a law, it never happens in life. And that tells me that these are the places, and I'm not speaking just about these three countries, it's a general idea, you understand, that those kind of places are the places which, in this sense, are good candidates for making home into, for living, settling there. Even though it sounds very strange, because these are kind of non-developed, poor, difficult kind of countries. But in many ways, they're not difficult at all. The problem is only if you want to work and earn wage there, then you are in trouble. But if your income is coming from outside, there's no problem living there, in most of the situations or cases. And there, then, you can easily afford to be there, live there, and enjoy the life which is full of freedom, which is something which I personally value a lot. But of course I understand that not everybody values freedom higher than comfort or predictability or security. But yeah, here we each of us have our balance of what we feel is the best combination of things. I was walking around in hopes of finding that prayer room finally, but I couldn't find. Sorry guys who built this place, you didn't do exactly a very good job about that. I find few signs showing to gents or male prayer room, but when I follow them, I end up nowhere. The signs disappear and there is no other place, like nothing looks like prayer room. So I don't know what's that, but that probably will be it. I won't spend more time. Now I need this thing, exit. It should be somewhere there. And yeah, I forgot to tell you about all these vaccinations and tests. Imagine if the society have such high vaccination levels that just to enter here you have to be vaccinated and tested every 3 days. So imagine, just imagine how much money is being made by those companies who produce all those tests and vaccines. This is how you can enter actually, where there is no entry. You see? This is how it's done. Then you don't need any vaccination or test. You just go to the exit only place, wait until somebody goes out, like what I did, and then quickly slip in. Because nobody is checking that door, obviously. In the door where it was entry only, entrance only, here that door is, you can see, that's the one. There is well organized checks. There's no way you will get through without all these things in order. So yeah, for those companies who are making the COVID tests and vaccinations, imagine this amount of money which is made by these companies in such countries where there is a lot of money, so that governments can spend it all on these kind of nonsense things, and where people's tolerance levels to nonsense and restrictions are so high that the governments can get away with such kind of laws and things and enforce it in real life. It's a gold mine for these companies. It's a gold mine, literally, such country. What can I say? What these countries didn't make in Egypt, they make up 5 times in this small country of United Arab Emirates. Although I have my full respect towards any illness and people who die or suffer from the illnesses, including COVID, including flu, including every other illness, I don't joke and laugh about that. But why I'm using these terms, that nonsense and yeah, all the negative terms which I was using, quite a few I admit. Why I am using it, it's not about the illness and the problems the illness causes. It is about the problems which restrictions causes, which in my view are far greater than the ones which are caused by illness. I do admit, yes, people die. Yes, people suffer. Yes, it is a problem for hospitals and healthcare system. Of course, I admit it. It's no question about that. But I have a feel that it could be something like 3% of the whole trouble. Yes, it is real trouble. This 3% trouble, it is a real problem. Yes, I admit it. But why should we make 97% more trouble with restrictions? With all these nonsenses which governments unfortunately can get away with in so many places during these years when the COVID is in a trend, when the COVID fashion is on among governments. That's a fashion. For the big guys to earn big money, and governments being used as milking cows, which in turn, of course, how government doesn't earn any money in any place. all the money which is milked out of government, how does it come about? In 3 ways only. This government either tax people, so extort money from people, or that government borrows money, which is again nothing else than future taxation for those poor peoples who are suffering under those governments. So basically, whatever government borrow, how will it be repaid? Of course, most will never be repaid, but that's another story. But in general, as an idea, how is it being repaid? Only by taxation in the future. Taxation of the kids and grandkids of those people who are living here. Extortion from them. Today's government is signing it into reality that the next governments will have to extort more to repay these things. And so that these were 2, yes, taxation, borrowing, which is basically future taxation, and the third thing, how governments get money, that's the most evil of all, money printing, causing inflation by printing money. Like today's technology, and basically any technology, results in deflation. The money would be getting more and more valuable by each year, and all the services and goods would be getting more cheap by each year, unless it happens what happens everywhere, that government is taking advantage of this phenomena and printing more money. And well, in whose pockets this money is going, that's a separate story. It's not people, definitely, with few and very small exceptions, tiny. So that's another story again. But basically, when you see that inflation is, for example, 2%, 3% in a year, it's not just 2 or 3% in a year. If they wouldn't be printing more money and diluting, debasing the currency, it would be not zero, it would be less than zero. Every year the money would get more valuable because markets are producing goods more efficiently each year. And that's just the result of free markets. Things get more effective, more quick, more cheap, more affordable, better. People are working on that and getting paid for that, and things get better and efficient, more efficient. So in real life, it should be that the prices go down. And I mean every price, including housing prices. There should be no difference in that. The only reason why housing prices come up is not because it became more difficult to build or more expensive. No, it's not true. It's only because the more money is being printed. And that's the secret thief, which comes while you sleep and which steals while you don't know. You have the same $5 in the pocket, but these $5 suddenly can buy less in the next day, after a few more dollars have been printed during that night by somebody and put in somebody's pocket, which is not your pocket. These are the things which are not the best things, probably, to think and talk about. But there are important reasons to know about these things, because then you can vote against these things. And by voting, I don't mean electing different government. No matter which government you elect, it will cause problems anyway. Of course, the easier it is to change governments, the less problems they manage to cause. That's why democracies, the real free democracies, are better than autocracies. But nevertheless, it's the same way. No government will ever be able to contract itself. It will always only expand as long as it's allowed to expand even more and more. But by voting, I mean you can vote with your feet. Well, in two ways actually. One way is to move to a different country. That's one, voting with your feet. But another, I mean voting with your feet in terms of what money you use. The less you use fiat money, the government printed money, the evil and war causing money, and the more you use Bitcoin, which nobody can debase, the more you have been voting for a better world and against these legal crimes. Money printing is legally allowed, but it is crime by any sensible, conscious judgment. How do I say it? So yeah, I don't think we should protest, we just should switch to Bitcoin as fast and as much as it is practicable in each of our lives. And by that we will better this world, and we will diminish the levers which governments has for making evil, for making wars, because they need to support their fake fiat money, and restricting people and all the other evils which comes from governments. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that governments are not doing good things as well. They do good things, of course, but it is how much? 2% of all the things which they do. It is nothing if you compare it to all the killed and tortured people which are killed and tortured by governments, and it is nothing compared to all the theft which is done by printing money and causing inflation and all the other things which they do, unfortunately. Yeah guys, I don't know, should I be talking about these things? It kind of went out because I was starting to talk about these COVID things when I saw the shopping center. I kind of feel that it might be useful for some of you. That's why I kept talking and didn't stop. But yeah, maybe for some of you it's not interesting. And I can also perfectly accept that for some of you, you will not agree with me and you will have your own diametrically opposite opinion. And that's fine too. I don't try to take away your opinion. I just shared my own. Yeah, friends, let's keep exploring this beautiful city. What can I say? I quite enjoy it. It's very different from everything else which I have seen during last couple months. And it's good in its own way. I just noticed one thing, friends. Look at these skyscrapers. What is that thing on their roofs? Are they solar panels? They are kind of oriented towards south, towards the sun. Could it be solar panels? If yes, my respect to them. A cool way to do these things. Yeah, there are a lot of things actually in the planning of this city which reminds me of America, many American cities. And I was thinking what it is, and I came to the conclusion that the most important thing which reminds me about America, besides all these street signs and the traffic lights and that kind of small things, but the main thing is their planning, that they have really big highway type streets, and this is not just some of them, it is like the whole city is crossed with these big highway type streets, and they are perpendicular to each other on a very regular pattern. Basically on the map they look like a square paper, the mathematics exercise book, how do you call it, the squared paper. And this is something which you almost never find in Europe. In Europe it's always random directions of the streets, sometimes circular around the center, like in Moscow for example would be very bright example of that circular planning, but it's never square. But in America, of course, almost every place, with few exceptions, are this square paper, and here this reminds me of that very much. Like these many lanes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes, 6 in each direction on that road, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in each direction on that road. And this is just one regular intersection. It's not the big one. It's just normal bigger street. The whole city is divided in big blocks between these kind of streets, and then there are smaller streets parallel to these big streets in each of those blocks. So it's very convenient for car drivers, like what they have in America as well. It is wide, a lot of space, good speeds available for the cars, all kind of American comfort levels in that regard. Yeah, judge yourselves if it's better or worse. Some things are better with this setup and some things are worse, like with everything. Sudanese Social Club. Huh, interesting. I like these spiral minarets. That's quite unusual. Almost like you would have a stairs in these spirals. I like it. Nice. What do you think, friends? You see, even school buses here are painted in the same yellow color as in United States. This is quite a non-Arab looking site. What do you think? Or am I very wrong with this thought? I haven't seen these things in too many Arab countries. And even advertising in English. But it's quite likable. What do you think? It almost feels like they have snow as well in January. And you see how these are watered, like drenched in water almost. And here as well, I don't know if you can see, lots of water. When I saw this and this, it dawned to me it is quite a while since I was in a mosque last time. It was in Egypt, I think, or was it even in Jordan? I don't remember even. Let's see if they would let us in. What do you think, friends? Would they? It doesn't seem open. Or is it? No, it's not, and it was beeping when I came here. So obviously there is some high-tech systems for preventing guys like me from coming in. Okay. We can look on it from outside. I also noticed another thing. Even these guys, the delivery people, you see what kind of bikes they're using. Not Bajaj, Halawa, Dayun, all these Chinese cheap bikes. They use Hondas here. That's probably one of those hospitals to where Egyptians fly to when they have to make some more expensive and complicated surgeries. Look at this, my friends. Can you believe it? Do you do these kind of things in the middle of desert? These guys do. Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah. That building almost looks like the ones which I saw in Egypt, but only almost. I wonder what is this place? Just a park? Something interesting. And look, there is more water. Imagine how much water evaporates through this thing each month. But yeah, these guys enjoy it enough to pay for that. If I understand correctly, they get their fresh water from desalination plants. They take it from sea and then they, I don't know, do they use evaporation and distillation, or do they use reverse osmosis? In any way, they somehow desalinate seawater. That's what I heard somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure if it's true or not. So yeah, quite expensive thing. It's not the cheapest way how to get your fresh water. And you have even some Arabic sailboat there. Well, kind of. But yeah, a symbol of that. Let's call it that way. And some medieval fortress, or whatever it is. And these kind of contraptions for your walking. Yeah, interesting, interesting. They have built some space and even some lighting is here. It's already getting kind of a little bit darker, although it is still some time until the sunset. But not too big time, I think. Not too long time, I should say, probably. Yeah, my last evening in this place. Well, second and last. Behind these buildings is the last object of my today's exploration, and that's the beach of Abu Dhabi. What do you think, friends? And it's also almost sunset time, and it is that direction. That beach is facing northwest, maybe northwest, but in any case we should be having quite nice views. I wanted to go to the beach here as well to see how it is, to touch the water, which I didn't touch the other day when I was sleeping in my hammock. Yeah, that's quite nice mosque. What do you think? Is it open? Oh, the man went in, so it should be open. Well, should we do the same, friends? It is large. Really large. Hiding behind the column from the guard. I don't know how would he react if he knew I was filming. Salam. Yeah, it is not very often you find things which are new but elegant and good looking at the same time. I quite like it. Okay, friends, let's go back to our previous objective, the beach. Behind this boat should be what we are looking for. Yeah, I see it already. I see that sea. Oh, and we have an underpass here. Nice. I was thinking already crossing there, but no need, my friends, no need. We are in a very civilized country. No need jumping across the lanes. You can even go with a bicycle here without stepping off. Why not? And even here you see they have some art, some underwater life on the walls. Cute. I hear already the call for the sunset prayer. Can you hear it as well? maybe it's too silent for your ear, for the microphone. And here we are, my friends. Exactly sunset time. Well, maybe even a bit too late. These distances are huge, actually. When I look on the map, it looks like, it's here. I'll be there in no time. And I walk and walk and walk. I have walked crazy distances today. What is this? Is it closed? You must be joking. But the people are in. So there must be some way. Or is it a paid thing? I see the next entrance there is closed like this as well. But the people are there. So there must be some way. And I guess some way besides climbing this thing, which would always be possible as well. But I don't know still, how is this in this culture? Is it acceptable or no? Is it okay if I climb it or no? Maybe there through that house I can get in the beach. Let's see, this direction is better for me than the other direction, and let's just walk along here and see there. And you see, some people are actually praying on the beach. They heard the call to sunset prayer from the mosque, and they actually bow down and pray on the beach. Some young people. Yeah, quite cool. What do you think about that boat? And there is one speedboat as well. And what is this? Some building? Probably. Yeah. Some drainage waters maybe. It was said exit only, and this is kind of half this, but I saw people coming in from here. So, am I worse or better? I don't know. But I'm coming in. Let's see what happens. Nobody cares. Good. Good. Yeah, it's quite beautiful in here. Quite beautiful. And you see, everything is cleaned and swept with some mechanical rakes, with tractors or something. Everything is perfectly clean. Yeah, they're keeping their standard quite high. What do you think, friends? If you were here in my shoes, well, maybe not these dirty shoes, but in my shoes, would you be coming here as well? Or would you be choosing some other place to go? Look at this Bahr. Let's go and touch the water. It smells so nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. I would swim in it. It's very salty though. I can even feel with my hands. Don't need my tongue even. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So this is my last thing which I wanted to see today. What do you think, friends? I think this day wasn't lived in vain for me. Well, I wouldn't say it is something huge in terms of existential, ontological, whatever more philosophically, religiously deeper sense of that word. But it was a day filled with quite a good emotions and thoughts. And even it dawned to me recently that even when I don't do much, like we Westerners tend to think that if we don't produce, create, earn, work hard, then we are useless. And this is a useless day which we have spent, and we should feel guilty about that. And I'm nowhere against production, productivity, efficiency, resultativity, whatever you call it. I'm not against that at all. But what dawned to me recently, that even if I work hard, and by the way, working hard is nothing good. Getting result is good. But yeah, what I wanted to say is that even if you haven't built, created, earned something serious in material expression, the question still is, what have you filled this earth, this world with? Was it something positive or negative? Was it something building, uplifting, or destructive? And in that terms, if I am transmitting into this world, can I say, vibrating in that kind of vibration, experiencing that kind of emotions, thinking that kind of thoughts, which are positive, uplifting, and building up, then I am influencing this world in a positive way. And my contribution to this world is definitely net positive, even if I haven't earned any money. Although the money earning doesn't stop with me having one day half off. I was working in the morning, but it was only 1/3 of the day maybe. And probably I'll do something in the evening in airport as well. So, but even let's say if I would take one day completely off, completely, from the morning to the evening, I would do nothing to earn money. Would that be a wasted day? Would I be a worthless parasite in this world? No, not necessarily. Although I have been conditioned to think like that. But no, I don't think it's true. I would be a lot more useless and even negative and destructive even when I make big money. But if I am functioning all day in very negative frequencies, with stress, fear, greed, not enough feeling, angst, anger, all that feeling, of that gamma of feeling, in that case, I would maybe have made 100 or 1,000, doesn't matter, dollars in that day, and contributed to this world in that way. But I would have produced even more negative, heavy, destructive emotions, energy, which I transmitted in this world for the whole day. And it would act for this world the same way as a polluting factory. It maybe produces something, but it emits, it will be closed. Okay, let's go back. But it emits so much pollutants, which creates smog, radioactive background, and what not, that net result of that factory is more damaging and destructive than if it would not be there at all. Even though technically the director of that factory can boast and brag that they are producing, they are creating, they are part of the building mechanism of this world. In the net, I think it's easy to go negative balance that way. And the same way, it's not just about factories, it's about us humans. Each of us, we are like a factory, and we create and emit something all the time. And if we work all day and create some, I don't know, $200 or euros during that day with our work, that's something positive. That goes towards our family, that goes towards the people who will sell something, some goods and services which we will be buying. It goes towards the common good. And it's good for yourself, of course. That's good. But if during creation of those $200, if you have produced huge amounts of negative energy, of fear, greed, scarcity, not enough feeling, fearful about future feeling, stressful about will it work out or not, all those feelings, if you are creating in huge amounts, you can easily go net negative as a factory. Like your contribution, your emissions into this world is more negative than it is positive. It's very easily possible. And if you are experiencing very good, uplifting, faithful, all kinds of emotions, feelings, vibrations, whatever you call them, if you are experiencing and emitting, transmitting into this world, all of those, then you would have to not earn anything and spend recklessly huge amounts to go net negative. You would still be net positive because you have produced so much good and transmitted it all into the outer world for others to enjoy. And that's the reason why it is happening that some places, they always go up. No matter what happens, they always go up, and even in all disasters they are like cats who always land on their feet, not their head. Because people in general in those places vibrate, transmit, I don't know, I don't have the word, in a very positive building way. Yeah, I again went off the tangent thinking about these things, but my idea was that I was kind of looking back on this day as the sun is setting down, enjoying this view, and I was thinking, what was my day like today? And it definitely was net positive day, both for me and also for this world. Like whatever I have created and transmitted into this world today, it's definitely more positive than negative. Even though money-wise I was earning not too much. Well, it is difficult, of course, to measure, but if we can try to measure in those hours when I was working, how much result I gained and how much contribution I made into whatever my business will make. It wasn't too much. But even if it would be nothing, it was a lot more positivity than negativity, which I contributed to this world today. So guys, you're lucky. And I'm lucky. I didn't pollute this world today too much. Tiny bits here and there. But in general, it was good. I don't know, were you able to understand anything of what I was talking about? Maybe 2/3 of you will say, no, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Okay, well, never mind, forget about it. Aha, this is exit only sign. It's quite dark, I don't know if you see it. Okay, in any case we did it right. We exited only. But it's so beautiful, my friends, so beautiful. Yeah, on the screen it, as always, it looks like 1/10 of that beauty what I see with my eyes. Again, friends, what can I say about it? Come here yourselves. Come. It cost me €8 from Egypt. And you can get very cheaply to Egypt, if nothing else. Yeah, come here, friends, experience it for yourselves. I definitely think it's worth it. I certainly enjoyed it and still keep enjoying. So, I am pretty sure that this must be the same intersection where bus number 1 should be going through. And because I arrived as bus number 2, it's further there in that direction. I landed there. But I'm pretty sure from the map which I saw in the airport that bus number 1 comes from that street and it goes here on this street. And yeah, since I need that direction, I will be going this direction rather than there, and see if there is any bus stop. Here they are very clearly marked and it shouldn't be difficult to find which is mine. I see one bus stop there already, so let's see what is there. So what we will see here, A2, not A1. Did I mix them up? Huh. Maybe. So did I take A1 coming here? Or maybe. It doesn't matter, to be honest. I just remember that one was there, up there, quite distance away. And the second one was here. I thought I took A2 when coming here, but no, probably it was the opposite. I took A1 and now I'll be taking A2. Okay, friends, let's wait and see. Maybe there is some schedule? Not really. But I understood that they come every 15 or 20 minutes or so. And they should be good then. I can just wait and see when it comes. And by the way, do you want to see the bus stops? There are people. But these bus stops, and it's too dark as well, these bus stops are air conditioned. During most of the year, it is very important. Well, even now, for the curiosity's sake, I went into one, and it was cooler inside even in mid-January. So even now they air condition these places. And in summer I can imagine that's the only place where you can stand the heat while waiting the bus, otherwise it would be very difficult. That's ours. Hello. What time do you think we will be in airport?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, perfect. And are there many terminals or one terminal only?
1 and 3. 1 and 3.
Do you know Wizz Air? Which is Wizz Air? Wizz Air for Oman. Okay, okay. So my friends, I think this is the right time to end this video. I don't think there will be something too interesting which I can show you in the airport. And besides, you saw the airport already a little bit in the beginning of this video. So, I wonder, what do you think about Abu Dhabi? I quite enjoyed it. It's very different from everything I saw in Egypt. Very developed, very clean, very organized, very prosperous. Also, people are very different. In Egypt it is almost 100% local people, very few tourists, and only I saw them near pyramids or some places like that. Here it's almost difficult to find local people. Well, I'm exaggerating a little bit. But yeah, there are many people from Europe, from America, many people from other places, from Africa, Southeast Asia, very many Indian people, like lots of all kinds of people living here. And everybody seems to get along quite nicely, and place is really calmly booming place, I could say so, maybe. I don't know how to describe it. But very positive in all kinds of ways. So that's my at least first impressions from these 2 days in Abu Dhabi. You saw my 2 days in Abu Dhabi. And now I'm going to Oman. If everything goes smoothly, I should be there very late evening today, in Muscat in Oman. And after that I'm hoping to come back to Emirates, but to Dubai, and hopefully by land with a bus. But it's too early yet to say how it will happen. I hope, but we'll see how it goes. It will depend on many things, mostly all kinds of restrictions, COVID related. But yeah, that's it for this video, my friends. And if you want to see how things go on in Muscat in Oman, stay tuned for my next video. If you want to see what happened in my previous explorations in different places, all the video list of my channel is all there for you. Feel free to browse and explore. All the best, my dear friends.